August 11, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2002 chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It moved it roughly in about a 44 point range, roughly, or 44 point, well, span. Overall price action was very slow today. The volume was also very low. I didn't really find I only found like two setups worth mentioning. There was no economic data that came out, but I have this little icon or this little tag saying news because President Trump came out at around 7 o'clock. Well, he was scheduled to come out around 7 o'clock, right about here, to hold a press conference, something about the DC police. But he'd also have a Q&A, and I'm sure people would ask him all kinds of things. He actually showed up about 30 minutes late and started talking closer to about right here. And as you can see, there was very little price movement right there as he was chatting, and then they started asking him all kinds of questions, and it caused it to oscillate. But other than that, there was a very slow, meandering, choppy day. I did take one trade, and unfortunately, it was a loser. At the time, I was a little bit. I don't think I saw the bigger picture, so unfortunately, I took a trade, and it was a loss. Okay, in the pre-market, carry over from Friday. There's this really big rally up. So actually, it's two legs down, big rally up, another leg down, pull back, and a second big leg down. For whatever reason, decided to bounce here, pushes up. Looks like it was spike and then a downward channel. No setups in this red down channel. That started reversing, pushed up on this green up channel. You only have a first entry short, pullback. Technically, you have a second entry short here, so it's like a first entry, pullback, second entry. Break of this green up channel has tested the high. This isn't a really good signal bar. When you see this in real time, you're not thinking of going short. Then the follow through trigger bar shows this, but I didn't have this drawn as a potential resistance yet, so it wasn't really possible for me to use as a key entry point. And if you did, it didn't really have that many confirmations. It's kind of a reach, in my opinion, to say it's one attempt, two attempt, and a third attempt triple test. Plus, this follow through trigger bar wasn't very convincing to make me feel like, oh, I should jump on this because it's going to definitely move back down. You could say it's a break the green, test the high, could be coming back down, or it could make another leg like this green one up. So a little ambiguous, decided to sit it out. Prices move. You can say there was a lower high here, but it never broke through the EMA. EMA is horizontal, so it's not super reliable, but you don't have much going on so early in the day. So you could give it more weighting, like you could not trust it, but you could figure that it might be more important to the price action or not. And at the time, I just kind of included it, saying, okay, it could potentially bounce or act as a support. So I'm waiting. Comes back down. I do see a potential triple test, so I drew this line. It was kind of after the fact when I saw this that I decided, okay, it's a clean triple test because there's one attempt, two attempt. Right here, you still don't know if it's going to break through. Then you see it reverse is the second attempt. You can say it's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. The second entry long, though, this is your second entry long signal bar. It's nothing telling you to go long yet unless you drew this early and treat it as a triple test. But even then, it closed low. So, well, it closed lower than open. So it's not really telling you it's a good idea to go long just yet. Get a confirmed second entry long here, confirmed triple test. Looking for a higher low. Ideally, in the next couple bars, they'll come back, bounce off the EMA, and continue upwards. But you don't get that. It just kind of keeps going up. I drew this now as a potential top of a range because here in this time, I'm thinking this could be operating in a range right here because low side has good confirmation, high side has decent confirmation. Could this be a failed breakout? Triple test, one attempt, two attempt, three attempt, new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. I thought this was a possible trade. I like that it moved one tick above the previous. This is actually the signal bar. Moved one tick above the previous, pushed and closed at the low. I think there's enough for a 1 point scalp, but at this time I wasn't quite that enthusiastic because you could also say it's a break of this orange up channel, break, and it has attempted to test the high. So I'm actually waiting for another lower high inside this potentially developing trading range. Fortunately, you don't quite get that and it starts reversing, but this would have been good for a 1 point scalp. You have enough room to the EMA. pushes out, up and out. I'm thinking this could be another fail breakout. Looks like it's one attempt, break, a very decisive push up to test the highs, because you can say it tested the highs here, but this is a very clear push to test the high, pushes down. Now it makes a second attempt. So now I'm just kind of waiting. I'm not really sure what's going to happen because it looks like it's making higher highs every time. It might be starting to move and migrate out of this trading range. Starts reversing. It flashes down. So right here, 7 o'clock, this is when Trump was scheduled to come out and chat, but he didn't. So we're just waiting. Pushes down. And this is where I put down news, because this is actually where he comes out and he starts saying, not economic stuff, but just how he's going to have, I guess, the National Guard help reduce crime in Washington, D.C. or something. But of course, he's going to take questions, and his administration, some of his guys are up there. They'd probably take questions, and then that might move the market. So I'm here just very cautious here. And it's for good reason. This is just sideways. Very hard to tell what's going to happen. It's kind of stalling, pushes down, breaks through this potential trading range support, pushes up. I drew this yellow down channel a little tighter like that. You only have a first entry long, first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but in real time, when you see this, you're not thinking of going short. Now you do have a confirmed second entry short, but it looks like the move has already been made. I'm not going to try to short below this guy. I need a lower high. And you don't get a lower high. It kind of reverses back up, starts pushing out. This is just telling me to sit tight. You have a new low, first entry short. Break of this orange up channel is test the high. Technically, you have a second entry short, but I wouldn't take it on the engulfing because this isn't a very good signal bar. And by the time the trigger bar closes, it's too close to the EMA. EMA has acted as resistance, so now it could act as support, but it's just hard to tell. Starts reversing, new high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but I saw it as one leg, pullback. Technically a second leg, but it's just very tight trading. I'm not the biggest fan of this right now. Just gets choppy, pushes up on this green up channel, or what I thought was this green up channel. Fits relatively nicely as a break. Push to the high here. So now it's another break. And I was thinking, okay, this actually could be the channel. Break. I'm expecting a test of this green up channel, but it's also a break of this red down channel correction, tested low. Right now I'm thinking this red down channel is played out. I still need to test the highs of this green up channel. So it's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Here I'm thinking there might be potential higher low. It made a double bottom, and I foolishly entered a trade right here. So let me tell you what I was thinking in real time. I'm thinking in hindsight, well, this is what I had in real time. I'm thinking, okay, there's a break of this green up channel, it wants to test the high. Break of this red down channel has tested the low. Looks like it's one attempt up. This could be the start of a second attempt up. And so I decided to enter the trade. I want to see a follow through. So this could be considered a higher low, double bottom, but it's not the cleanest. And then I entered at the highs of this guy and got stopped out. So here's everything wrong with my thinking. Number one, the trend channel actually fits pretty nicely originally here. So it's a break of the high, comes back down, and now it's definitely tested the high. So it's coming back down this way. Break of the red down channel, it has indeed tested the low, but whether it's going to come back and test the highs of this green is not very certain anymore because it already broke out and tested the high. So it's hard to really say that this green channel is in play. So now, right now, the setup is ambiguous. So when I do see this, it's a second entry long pullback. This other red flag is, okay, it might be bouncing off the EMA, but this technically isn't a very clean higher low because this is an inside bar to this. If this guy actually ticked below this guy by at least one tick, then you could say it's a clean higher low, but you have a double bottom. So it's very ambiguous right now. I should have taken that into consideration. When I waited, and I did, I saw the follow through. So now it's a doji. I should have abandoned all ideas going long because this has now definitively proven itself that it's not a high probability trade because there's some ambiguity. There's some questions that like, hey, this isn't quite a clean setup anymore. I shouldn't have tried to force it, and I did. So I ended up taking at the high, which is foolish because once I see that this closes doji, I should have just said this isn't going to work or this could potentially fail. but I kind of, in my mind, justified it by saying, well, it still could come back up because I'm looking for a test of this green up channel, which I told you in hindsight, I shouldn't have moved it. It should have been treated as a clean break two times. So enter the trade, push down, and got stopped out. I think part of it is I was too zoomed in, thinking I knew what was going to happen when clearly there's price action is already telling me, look, there's some questionable things happening. You need to abandon the trade or abandon any ideas of taking an entry. Now, so the other part was I was sitting through here wanting to take a trade, wanting to try to get some kind of profit. So that also affected my mental game and certainly got punished for it. But pushes down on this orange down channel, break, kind of moves sideways. You could argue it's a localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long way, way, way down here below the EMA. It could still be part of this orange down leg. So definitely nothing here you want to take. You do have a higher low here. The higher low is still just feels a little bit dicey. Kind of pushes out. I thought I was in a trading range. This is a very early trading range though, because you only have potentially a support here and potentially resistance. But the resistance on the high side hasn't been confirmed. But I did see potential fail breakout. Moves back in, but it kind of fails. So this might not even be a valid range, but I left it here because real time that was what I was thinking. I'm going to remove it now. Prices continue moving down. Looks like it's moving down to this yellow down channel pretty nicely. There is small breaks, but for the most part, it's obeying this pretty well. Even new low, first entry short, second entry short, but I saw as a visual first entry, pull back, second entry. I can't take this trade for a short because it's inside bar. And then the subsequent trigger bars just recently broke out, but it didn't close at the low. So it's definitely something I just have to wait on. I also just want to remind or point out that this was also the same thing. First entry short, pullback, second entry short, inside bar to this. So it's just dicey. Prices move down, it makes double bottom. Start the count here. First entry short, and then you get the sideways consolidation. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but in real time, it just looks like piano keys. You don't know that the next one might not be a green bar. When you finally get this, now there's not much room to the lows of the day that I'm that excited to take a trade. Kind of consolidates, pushes back down, new low, first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but you don't know it's going to be a second entry short till this bar shows up. So this isn't a good signal bar. Again, just telling myself, wait. I thought I might be starting into a trading range right here. It has good confirmation on the bounce on the bottom. I'm watching carefully here for potential short setup, but another doji, and then you don't know this big bar is going to happen. And by the time this big bar closes, it's too close to this localized support to try to take a safe short. Consolidates and then finally breaks through. So it looks like it was a break, sideways break of this yellow down channel, finally tests the low, starts to bounce. The first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short right here, but this is inside bar to this. This bar is still inside bar to this. Third bar, neutral, even though it's bearish, inside bar to this. And then finally a fourth bar. So I'm wondering, okay, don't look for any trades right here. This is clearly a tug of war happening. All these bars failed to break out of the range of this big bar. Yes, the break of this orange up channel has tested the high. So I think maybe it's going to come back down, test the low of this yellow, but it hasn't done it decisively in 4 bars. Finally, have a 5th bar. It still hasn't done it decisively. So now the best option is clearly the market's trying to figure itself out. You're going to take a very risky trade if you go long or short. So I just decided, okay, just wait. Finally pushes down. And I want to point out that this one, the low of this guy is about 64.0425. This is also 64.0425. So technically you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inside bars to this gigantic bar. I mean, it's not really a gigantic bar. Clearly, these are struggling to figure itself out, and I could still be in a range. So no trade. Starts pushing down, starts bouncing. Technically, a new low. First entry short, second entry short, second entry short. Inside bar to this. I also saw a potential visual first entry. Just noise. Started to move down on the screen down channel. Let me just correct this. Doesn't fit quite the way I had it initially. I had it something closer to this. Nevertheless, it didn't really help out for any trade setups or trying to identify any trade setups. Pushes down. You're moving into the last 10 minutes now. Last 10 minutes, it just gets noisy. Look at this. This is from 12:55 Pacific Standard to 1 o'clock Pacific Standard. So this is just 5 minutes trading. Very tight, just not a lot of stuff to feel safe about. Too late in the day. So I just had to end the day with my one loss, and hopefully tomorrow yields better trading. Now, last Friday was also a very slow day. Today was kind of the same, very slow day. So I'm hoping, well, I keep saying that, but we're still in the summer months. So the expectation is we could get more of these type of days of trading where it's slow, but hopefully things pick up. And for me, trading gets a little more obvious and easier. So hopefully that was helpful.